Hi peeps,
It's Ngọc
and Ricardo.
and we are
Thinking
Thinking Cube.
We are Thinking³, a podcast created by Ngọc and Ricardo to talk about our journey to becoming better people.
We will talk about how to improve yourself, how to improve your relationships with your family, your friends, and others.
And just generally talking about how to live a more humanly human life.
Last week we spoke about types of people in the community, and it inspired us to talk about this topic this week, which is how we can properly love ourselves.
If you haven't listened to it, I'll give you a quick review of it. There is 4 types of people in a community. First type of person is somebody who brings suffering to themselves. Second type of person is somebody who brings suffering to other people. The third person is somebody who brings suffering to themselves and to other people. And the fourth type of person is somebody who does not bring suffering to themselves or to others.
So we want to kind of get into the type of person who brings suffering to themselves. We were thinking about what kind of person is this? How can we not fall into this category? How we can not be those people who bring suffering to ourselves. We're going to talk about how we can properly love ourselves so that we can be happy and fulfilled with our lives.
I've heard somewhere that humans are selfish beings and that we love ourselves the most, and even the sacrifices that our parents make do not compare to how much we love ourselves. So how can we properly love ourselves if we are selfish?
I think that everybody thinks that they can love themselves, right? Everybody thinks that we treat ourselves to a Sunday Starbucks and that McDonald's round trip and I don't know whatnot, right? And we buy ourselves, the best tech and live in the best condition and making money to sustain our lifestyle and all of these things. But I feel like everywhere we look, everywhere we see, even within you and me, right, Ricardo? I feel like sometimes we still have internal struggles, internal sufferings, right? Because if we can fully love ourselves, then why are we still unhappy? You see? Right? Because I think that if you love yourself, then you need to make yourself happy, right? But why do we still feel unhappy?
That's the big question, right?
And sometimes it's not even this is just me examining myself, right? And I feel like sometimes it's not even somebody or something happened. I'm just on my own. Now I live in a very calm and peaceful environment, and there's a certain part of certain period of time that I feel really stressed out, or I don't know, just feel really depressed, really, really a down mood, and it comes out of nowhere, sort of. And I wonder why is it like that? Why do I still feel annoyed or unhappy or not at peace, not totally at peace? I thought that I love myself, right? I thought that I made all these difficult decisions to be in an environment that is peaceful, that is low pressure, that do the job that I like, do the things I love to do. And I still feel there's some part of me, a small part, that feels unhappy still.
I think that's true for everybody. I think everybody will have some moments in their lives where they're unhappy, where they're angry, when they feel unfulfilled, right? Even when they're working at their dream job. Even when they have their dream house, their dream car, right? Because it's not about just having the right environment. It's not just about having the job that you want, right? It's not about all those external factors, right? There is some internal factors that will affect whether or not we are loving ourselves properly. So we get all these things, right? Our job, our car, things that we want. And we're very happy when we get those things. But then what happens next? Why can we maintain happiness within ourselves?
I remember back in high school when like on the Isle of Man, everybody can start driving at 16. So at 16, like a bunch of my classmates got cars, like got a new car. Like my school is super rich, so like everyone got like the little like Mini Cooper and
Of course, a Mini Cooper.
yeah, like those sort of things, right? And in the first year, like when they first turn 16 and they get to drive and stuff, some of my friends, they love driving. They love it. They love the new car. They like pamper it. If I close the door a bit hard, they will be like super mad at me.
Hey!
Yeah, just all of these things, right? Like super like protective of their car and like loves to drive us around. But it gets to the second year where like they got sick of driving around all the time and having to like pick up everybody and like taking everybody places and stuff like that, right? So then they start getting like really annoyed when like I would make plans or like they have to come pick me up or something like that. And I just feel like that's such a funny image, because I feel like first you get what you want. Like you couldn't wait to get this car and grow up and drive and like be 16 and pass the driving license and all of this, right? But then like just a quick like few months later, you feel like this is the most dreaded thing in the world. Like that's what I mean. Like I feel like we as humans, we are never content with what we have. You know what I mean?
Like it always runs out.
Yeah, it's like the happiness always runs out. Like we cannot like maintain it for like a long sustainable period of time. It's always like we feel happy for like 30 minutes, 1 hour maximum or something. Then something happened, right? Like we meet like with somebody annoying, or like we meet with a situation where like we feel angry or like pissed off, and like our peace and like happiness is immediately gone, right?
Yeah. Like there is so many examples of this, like media, movies, things like this, where somebody keep having a great day and then like something happens and it totally ruins their mood.
Yeah.
Like this happens to all of us, right? Like we're having a great day, everything is going how we want it to go, and then there's one thing that happens and it ruins the whole day.
Yeah, ruin everything.
Whole mood, you're like very angry, you're upset, right?
I feel like if people have like 23 hours of happiness and only 1 hour of unhappiness a day, they will still feel more unhappy than happy.
And they'll focus on that 1 hour.
Yeah, more than their happy hours. Like, and another thing, right? I feel like the media, like at least like for me, when I'm like scrolling through Instagram, when we ask like tips about how to love yourself and things like that, first of all, I feel like it's always so general. Like spend time with yourself, like I don't know, make yourself a cup of tea and take a bath, sort of thing, you know, like pamper yourself, like the retail therapy, like all of these things, right? I just feel like it's very superficial, because the problem we're trying to solve here is that like the material things, the external factors bring us some happiness, right? But it doesn't sustain our happiness. So I think the sustainable part, it comes from within. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you mean, because we've always asked the question like, oh, what would you choose, like happiness or $1 million? And $1 million can buy you the things that you want that will make you happy. And the problem with it again is that, you know, you'll be happy for a year, you'll be happy for a couple months, right? But at some point, that happiness that you got from those external gratification will run out as well. And then you end up at the same place, right, where you're again unhappy, right? So it's again a question of how can we actually maintain happiness within ourselves.
You know, so I think that, so because obviously, like I said, right, these external things do bring us happiness, but only for a short period of time. And like the sustainable part, like it comes from within, right? And so like while we're like wasting time pampering ourselves and like fattening ourselves with like greasy food and like face mask, you know, shouldn't we be, so that we can grow internally to have a very colorful and sustainable, tough internal strength, so that we can sustain our happiness. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, because that's the real challenge.
Yeah, that's the real challenge, right? Because I feel like it's very cliche, but you have one life, you only have yourself to live with, and you have to deal with yourself for the rest of your life. So like I think like loving yourself comes first. Just think about this, right? So every day you wake up, you feel fresh, you feel happy, then you know you go to work or you meet with a person and you find this person like, or this situation like extremely annoying, right? Or like you meet with a customer and they are giving you a lot of problems. Then you are instantly annoyed. And in that second, you immediately lost happiness. Like in that moment, that's you not loving yourself right then.
Yeah, like if you love yourself, then you wouldn't let that affect you and let it be the reason that you become angry, that you lose your happiness.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that we spoke about this in another episode, where this anger actually comes from like your expectation of others. Like you expect this customer to act the way you want them to, which is nicely, right? But like you cannot control these factors, right? You cannot control the outside world. The only thing you can control is how you react to it, right? And I think that is very like instinct for us to feel annoyed. It's very instinct to us to feel like want to like shout at them or like feeling angry. But that's what I mean, having a internal force to sustain our happiness. So if you feel like internally you can, you have a force to kind of like stop yourself from being angry and like to let go of this expectation, then you will not feel angry in this situation. To kind of like let go of the expectation, then you need to build up this internal force. And to have this internal force, I think that you need to practice, right? You cannot let go of like something really big, your loved one betray you or anything like that immediately, right? But you can let go of a kid talking bullshit at you. Like, what is it gonna do, right?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, your stupid young brother putting your pen in the wrong place or something like that. Those are like silly things that you can learn to let go of first. So I think that if we start with the small things, then we build up, then at some point, somebody will like stand in front of you and shout at you and cuss at you and calling you like really, really bad names. And you just there having your happiness intact, feeling like really happy and calm and not like faking it. Like you genuinely feel like this person is the one who's miserable. This person is not loving themselves right now, right? And you can feel that way for the other person and genuinely feel it. I feel like if you just build up that internal force to sustain your happiness, then at some point you're going to achieve things like that. You know, you're going to live life in a way that is more calm and peaceful, and like you feel like a bigger person.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you go to the gym and you're not gonna expect to like lift the heaviest weight in there from the first day, right? You have to start with the smallest set, and then you build up, and like one day you can, you know, finally achieve to lift the biggest weight, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, right? Like we start with the small things, like babies crying on public, like very small things that trigger us, you know, like a comment on the internet that like we see it and we instantly get like agitated, right? Things like this that we need to learn to see why is it causing us suffering, right? It's causing us suffering because we have the expectation that people on the internet have to be the way that we want them to be, that child has to behave that we want them to be, that our partner has to behave the way that we want them to be, right? That the customer has to behave the way that we want them to behave, right?
You know, I think that there are certain values that we should focus on building to kind of like strengthen.
Like strengthen, right?
Yes.
So we can build up our internal strength, right? Or immunity towards these outside factors that try and take away our happiness from us.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I was thinking about this kind of example that like, because we live in a very chaotic, constantly moving, never staying in the same place, right? It's always moving. Everything is ever changing, right? So if our like external is like that, then if we keep our internal in a way that is very calm and unmoving, and like everything that is opposite of the external, like we stay calm, we stay unmoved, we feel like steady and like I don't have the vocabulary to explain this, but you get what I mean. Like like it's completely contrast to the chaotic, and inside of us we are like unmoved. Then we are able to face with anything. But the thing is, like inside of us we have like millions of thoughts all the time. We are always moving as well.
We are chaotic.
We are also chaotic. So we go into the world, and when there's like
we meet with chaos.
Yeah, we meet with chaos. We get chaotic, you know.
Even more.
If I feel like if we can like practice choosing love rather than engaging with conflict and anger, like the world will be a much, much better place. And that's a very big step on how to love ourselves. Because I think that we spoke to somebody with like a conflict they had with their parents, right? And the way they spoke about it is that they really want to confront their parents and like tell their parents their idea and their decisions and make them understand. Like, I just feel like that's such a weird idea, to make other people understand you. Like, you can barely understand yourself. I feel like whoever say that I understand myself, like, they're bullshitting. Like, you're constantly changing. You are also as chaotic as the world, right? So I feel like it's such a silly idea to make others understand you when you like can barely understand yourself. But this guy, he want confrontation, right? But I feel like if you choose love and just kind of like let his parents say what they need to say, because his parents were in a situation of desperation. Like, they didn't want him to leave his home, right? So he's young, he has the power, he has the ability to move away, to leave them, everything like that. And the parents are actually in the weak situation. So if you confront them, you don't bully the weak, right? And you confront your parents, who are the weak in this situation. That is not choosing love, that's choosing anger.
Yeah, definitely, because he was bringing suffering towards himself, because then he was putting himself in this situation where he was in conflict with his parents, which is something that he didn't want to do. But he was also in turmoil because he wants them to understand. He has this expectation again, right? And because of that, it causes him to lose his peace, to lose his happiness. Like you said, we are chaotic beings, right? And when we meet with other chaotic people, then a lot of the time the response we have is hatred or even revenge, right? Where we already got mad, we already got angry, we already lost our happiness, but then we want the other person to also lose their happiness, to also feel the same way we are feeling, right?
Yeah, like and really annoyed and triggered and everything, right?
Yeah, and like, do we think that like, it's gonna stop there? Or like, if we did that, then
they are gonna like retaliate.
They're gonna retaliate, right? And it's just like revenge and revenge. Like, it's just going to just keep spiraling until we have what we have now, which is this very chaotic world.
Yeah,
right?
And I feel like that is not loving yourself. In conflict, right? You create more conflict for others to hurt you. Like you create like more environment for others to hurt you. Then that's not loving yourself, right? You need to, when you see a conflict, you need to like treat it with love, or like like run away, or like just kind of like leave the whole kind of like environment. Because why would you like subject for others? Why would you create more opportunities for others to keep hurting you, right? And you create more opportunities for you to hurt.
So that's one value, right? Choosing love instead of anger. What else?
So I think like obviously we need to build our tolerance, right? Our inner strength for others and outside world's conflicts, right? And I think that to do that, we need to learn to let go of our expectations. We need to learn the value of forgiveness, and we need to learn the value of patience and listening, right? Sometimes other people, they want to be understood. Like everybody wants to be understood, right? They want to raise their voice. They want you to hear them. And sometimes if you're just patient and hear them out, that is choosing love, right? That is choosing love, to hear the other person, understand them, be patient with them. In a situation like that, like nobody is ever going to be angry with you,
Yeah, and a lot of the times that's all you have to do to really end the conflict.
Yeah, exactly. Like just to listen. That's it,
Yeah. I read this very touching story that I want to share with everybody.
About this topic,
yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Go ahead.
So, let's go another way. The train clanked and rattled through the suburbs of Tokyo on a drowsy spring afternoon. Our car was comparatively empty. A few housewives with their kids in town, some old folks going shopping, I guess absently the drab houses and dusty hedgerows. At one station the doors opened, and suddenly the afternoon quiet was shattered by a man bellowing violent, incomprehensible curses. The man staggered into our car, He wore laborer's clothing and was big, drunk, and dirty. Screaming, he swung at a woman holding a baby. The blow sent her spinning into the laps of an elderly couple. It was a miracle that the baby was unharmed. Terrified, the couple jumped up and scrambled towards the other end of the car. The laborer aimed a kick at the retreating back of the old woman, but missed as she scuttled to safety. This so enraged the drunk that he grabbed the metal pole in the center of the car and tried to wrench it out of its sanction. I could see that one of his hands was cut and bleeding. The train lurched ahead, the passengers frozen with fear. I stood up. I was young then, some 20 years ago, and in pretty good shape. I've been putting in a solid 8 hours of Aikido training, nearly every day for the past 3 years. I like to throw and grapple. I thought I was tough. The trouble was, my martial skills were untested in actual combat. As the students of Aikido, we were not allowed to fight. Aikido, my teacher had said again and again, is the art of reconciliation. Whoever has the mind to fight has broken his connection with the universe. If you try to dominate people, you're already defeated. We study how to resolve conflict, not how to start it. I listened to his words. I tried hard. I even went so far as to cross the street to avoid the chimpira, the pinball punks who lounge around the train stations. My forbearance exalted me. I felt both tough and holy. In my heart, however, I wanted an absolutely legitimately opportunity whereby I might save the innocent by destroying the guilty. This is it, I said to myself as I got up to my feet. People are in danger. If I don't do something fast, somebody will probably get hurt. Seeing me stand up, the drunk recognized a chance to focus his rage. Aha! He roared. A foreigner. You need a lesson in Japanese manners. I held on lightly to the commuter strap overhead and gave him a slow look of disgust and dismissal. I planned to take this turkey apart, but he had to make the first move. I wanted him mad, so I pursed my lips and blew him an insolent kiss. All right, he hollered. You're gonna get a lesson. He gathered himself for a rush at me. A fraction of a second before he could move, someone shouted, Hey! It was ear-splitting. I remember the strangely joyous quality of it, as though you and a friend had been searching diligently for something, and he had suddenly stumbled upon it. Hey! I wheeled to my left. The drunk spun to his right. We both stared down at a little old Japanese man. He must have been well into his 70s, this tiny gentleman, sitting there, immaculate in his kimono. He took no notice of me, but beamed delightedly at the laborer, as though he had a most important, most welcome secret to share. Come here, the old man said in an easy vernacular, beckoning to the drunk. Come here and talk to me. He waved his hands lightly. The big man followed as if on a string. He planted his feet belligerently in front of the old gentleman and rode above the clacking wheels. Why the hell should I talk to you? The drunk now had his back to me. If his elbows moved so much as a millimeter, I dropped in his socks. The old man continued to beam at the laborer. What you been drinking? He asked, his eyes sparkling with interest. I've been drinking sake, the laborer bellowed back. And it's none of your business. Flecks of spittle spattered the old man. Oh, that's wonderful, the old man said. Absolutely wonderful. You see, I love sake too. Every night, me and my wife, she's 76, we warm up a little bottle of sake and take it out into the garden, and we sit on an old wooden bench. We watch the sun go down and we look to see how our persimmon tree is doing. My great-grandfather planted that tree, and we worry about whether it will recover from those ice storms we had last winter. Our tree has done better than I expected though, especially when you consider the poor quality of the soil. It is gratifying to watch when we take our sake and go out to enjoy the evening, even when it rains. He looked up at the laborer, eyes twinkling. As he struggled to follow the old man, his face began to soften. His fists slowly unclenched. Yeah, he said. I love persimmons too. His voice trailed off. Yes, said the old man, smiling. And I'm sure you also have a wonderful wife. No, replied the laborer. My wife died. Very gently, swaying with the motion of the train, the big man began to sob. I don't got no wife. I don't got no home. I don't got no job. I'm so ashamed of myself. Tears rolled down his cheeks. A spasm of despair rippled through his body. As I stood there in my well-scrubbed youthful innocence, my make this world safe for democracy righteousness, I felt dirtier than he was. Then the train arrived at my stop. As the doors opened, I heard the old man cluck sympathetically. My, he said. That is a difficult predicament indeed. Sit down here and tell me about it. I turned my head for one last look. The laborer was sprawled onto the seat with his head in the old man's lap. The old man was softly stroking the filthy, matted hair. As the train pulled away, I sat down on a bench in the station. What I had wanted to do with muscle had been accomplished with kind words. I had just seen Aikido in action, and the essence of it was love. I would have to practice the art with an entirely different spirit. It would be a long time before I could speak about the resolution of conflict.
That's a good story.
Yeah. Did you like it?
I love it. I think that's a really great story. Like a good example of how you can solve conflict with kindness,
with kindness,
right?
with love.
And when you see an angry person, actually they are very piteous. They are struggling. That's why they are angry. Things are not going their way, right? So they are angry, and I think that's such a good story.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And thank you for sharing, Ricardo. So I think that's. Yeah. I think that story really kind of like sum up what, like our message, right? Kind of like what we want to talk about in this topic of how to love yourself properly. It's not about pampering yourself or giving you the best food or the comfiest bed or the fastest car or the biggest house or the job with the highest salary, right? It's about developing values and tolerance and kindness and be forgiving towards yourself and others, right? And we need to build an internal kind of strength, internal tolerance to kind of face this chaotic world, right? By being kind of calm and collected and unmoved. And it will not happen in one day, right?
Right.
We need to kind of work on it every day and build it up every day to a point that when we face with adversity, we feel confident and loving and accepting it with an open heart rather than kind of looking at it as struggle or suffering or with anger, right?
Yeah.
I think if we're able to do that, if we're able to let go of expectations for others and ourselves, I think that's the best way of loving ourselves. And it's definitely not about face mask. That's it. That's all I want to say, you know. I think that's the main kind of like summary for our episode. Do you have anything to add?
Listen to us every week.
Yeah.
We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. We are on Instagram at Thinking.cube.
So be sure to check us out. Give us a follow.
We also want to let you know that this was our 10th episode, and we want to take a little break to gather ourselves, to invest more time into planning these podcast episodes, and really come back with a very strong second season.
Yeah. Season
2. We'll have 100 episodes.
100 episodes. Oh, 100 seasons.
100 seasons. 100 episodes. 100 seasons.
Yeah, but we're just going to, look back on the 10 episodes we've done and just see how we can be better, how we can cater things better to you, and just see the quality of our work and see what we need to improve.
Yeah. So
be sure to
stay tuned.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Thinking.cube
to keep up with the latest news.
Yeah, keep up with the latest news.
And don't forget, let's get
Thinking cube.